My next Patreon question is from Diver, who is curious about my thoughts on a recent development in family and children's shows. I recently read an article regarding the reboot of Clifford the Big Red Dog, in which the show will be introducing a lesbian couple raising a child. This has made me think of the recent trend of LGBT subjects featured in other kids' shows, such as the upcoming episode of Sesame Street featuring Billy Porter wearing a dress, as well as the Arthur episode from last year with Mr. Ratburn's gay wedding. My question to you, in light of all this, is should such controversial moral, social, political issues be presented in kids' shows? Personally, I don't find this to be in the same vein as shows discussing serious subjects like death, war, or traumatic events. I feel discussions of these topics should be left solely up to parents. To be honest, I don't have a problem with children's shows highlighting more LGBTQ relationships. In fact, I welcome it. I don't understand why many people find it difficult to explain gay and lesbian relationships to children. I guess part of it comes from this misconception that sex automatically becomes part of the discussion, which is absurd. When explaining heterosexual relationships to children, the topic of sex does not come up, so why do so many think that's automatically the case with LGBTQ relationships? When we see two gay men holding hands or two lesbians kissing in public, it's no different from seeing a heterosexual couple doing the same. I find it silly this is such a taboo subject. In regards to these series showing these relationships, they have the same attitude. A lot of family shows just depict two people of the same gender in a relationship and treat it as normal, because it is normal. I think of the episode of Good Luck Charlie, where we're introduced to a pair of mothers. Charlie's parents don't treat it as an unusual or unique event. They just see them as fellow parents with a child they themselves love. It was very nicely handled, and by including these same-sex couples in family and children's shows, the children watching also begin to view LGBT people as normal. This applies to family movies too. The ending of Storks had a beautiful montage where we see babies being delivered to all sorts of couples, including same-sex couples. For children with LGBT parents, it probably means an enormous amount to them to see children just like themselves in the television shows they watch. It tells them they're no different from their peers, and they should be proud. Really, the only reason this content generates any kind of controversy is because of how loud bigots can be, and because of lessons that have been ingrained in society for years. But as the likes of Sesame Workshop and Disney and Netflix and Nickelodeon have shown, at the end of the day, their cries of boycotts only bring more attention to these shows. People throwing a fuss over Ratburn's wedding and Arthur probably led to more people watching that episode. I've mainly been talking about same-sex relationships, but I think the rise of transgender characters on television has also been great to see. I admit I was not all that familiar with transgender people or what it meant for somebody to be transgender until some years ago. Why is that? Probably because the subject was never brought up in the shows I watched in my youth. While it's still not a topic that's largely explored in family shows, there have been small strides in recent years. Most notable was in the recent Rocko's Modern Life special, Static Cling. The inclusion of Rachel Bighead, a transgender character, was very well handled, and was also tied in well with the overall theme of the special, which is about accepting change. I think the writers of these family and children's shows have been doing a good job of including LGBTQ characters. There are still a long ways to go, but the likes of Steven Universe and She-Ra and the Princesses of Power have been praised by LGBTQ organizations like GLAAD for a reason. Members of the LGBTQ community want to be given the same rights and acceptance as everyone else, and it's great that television shows aimed at children, teenagers, and adults are starting to spread these messages. I'm a straight, cisgender male who has never been without representation in media. It's time other people got their chance too. Thank you for your question, Diver.